Get yourself settled so that you're comfortable, that you're in a position that you're happy to be in. Notice your breath, your body. In yoga, we work with the five koshas or the five layers of who we are, sheaths or layers. The body, mind is all a field of energy. And when we first start a practice, we come into it, we notice what's going on in the space that the body is occupying. One of the reasons that we word it that way is because just to bring awareness into the reality that this body is something that's here in this location. When we bring ourselves into knowing what's going on in our body, we have all of these different senses. We have the perception, sense perceptions. We have proprioception. We know where our body is. We don't have to see our hand, for instance, to know where it is. We have interoception, which is that sense of what's going on inside. But with the koshas, what we also work with is our physical body is the least subtle of the bodies. It's the most manifest or the most solid. So we're talking about our bones and organs and blood and tissues, our physical body. And we relax our physical body, but it's in the same space, it occupies the same space as the prana body, the body made of energy and breath. And as we kind of integrate those two, so we relax our physical body. If you do that right now, just kind of notice what's happening in your back and neck and shoulders. If you were to move that around a little bit, and then with an exhalation, let your shoulders move away from your ears. And one of the things that we notice is that there's energy or sensation there as well. And some of that is our muscles might be tight, and some of it is more of an emotional or an energetic protection. We often shield ourselves. And when we have these habits of really tight neck and shoulders and upper back, that's a habit of bracing ourselves. So it happens in our physical body, but it happens in our mind, it happens in our energy as well. So the sensations that we might get in some part of our body are more on the pranamaya kosha, the layer of energy and breath. So they're not separate. They occupy the same space. That's part of why we say bring your awareness into the space that your body is occupying. And notice what's happening in that space. And the next layer is the Manamaya Kosha, the lower level of the mind, the thinking brain, the stream of thoughts that comes and goes, but it's mostly pretty active. And then sometimes when we do a practice, it settles and it gets quieter. So the Manamaya Kosha is a bit more subtle. It's a higher vibration of energy than the physical body. So those three layers are mostly what we work with during any practice. And as we get those three layers kind of in our awareness and let them settle and soften, and we do that in many different ways. Sometimes we do a relaxation practice of going through the body, relaxing the different parts of the body. We might do just that for a whole practice, but it reverberates through the other layers as well. We might notice that our breathing gets slower and more ease. The thoughts in our mind start to settle. What we know is that as those three layers, the least subtle, start to settle and soften and we start to relax, then the intuitive layer of the mind, the wisdom, the deeper layer of the mind, we have more access to that, and to the layer of joy and bliss, all of these five layers that surround our being. the inner divine, the light at the core of us, however you want to put words on that. So, almost always during these practices, we're working with the physical body, the layer of breath and energy, and the lower level of the mind. And probably not every single time, but a lot of the time when we're doing these practices, we'll notice that everything starts to get more still. We have access to silence, to the deeper silence that's part of our whole mind body, part of our consciousness as well. So let's come back to working with the body, the physical body right now, the Annamaya Kosha, a body made of food. And bring your awareness to your forehead and eyebrows. Let your forehead soften. Notice the corners of your eyes, your eyelids, deep muscles of your eyes. And if we were to just be working with the physical body, those little muscles of the forehead and eyebrows would be softening. But we also let go of worry and anxiety, part of the lower level of the mind. And we might be thinking about that. We might be letting go of worry or doing a little 3-minute forehead practice, which many of us have done. Just try to bring a worry into your attention as you're softening the forehead and the muscles of the eyebrows, and see what your experience is. Can you worry at the same time as you relax your forehead? The forehead and eyebrows is one of the 5 locations where people commonly hold tension. And if we can soften any one of those, generally everything else softens too. And we might notice that as we're moving around during the day, or even during the practice, that we bring our attention back to the forehead, and we might find that we're frowning. So, this frown that happens in our forehead is very much related to what's going on in the thought stream. This whole mind body is one, it's in the same location, and it's all one. We're not separated into the physical parts and the thought parts. A couple more breaths, softening the forehead and eyebrows as you breathe out. Notice the flow of air as it comes into your nostrils and then leaves your nostrils. Notice the rhythm of your breath, and if your breath is smooth, relaxed, continuous. And notice your belly. Notice the softening that happens through your stomach area, navel center, and lower belly as you breathe out. And as you breathe in, notice there's a expansion, a lengthening of your muscles. It has a different energetic feel to it as well. When we're paying attention to this, we might be noticing the pattern, noticing what it feels like. There's also a really pretty dramatic difference in the energy of the out breath and the in breath. So it's not just that muscles are softening and the belly's coming back towards the spine as we breathe out, and that the muscle fibers are lengthening as we breathe in. There's also a difference in the energy of letting go and of taking in. So in this area, really it's all three of the bottom koshas, the physical body, what's happening, the movement of our body with the breath, that felt sense of the energy of the out breath and the in breath, the releasing and the taking in. And we might get our mind involved in that as well, letting go. Bring your awareness back to your whole entire body, head to toes. Let go on the out breath. And one of the things we let go of is tightness in the body, tension, contraction. We might be letting go of thoughts in the mind, worries. Let yourself relax more and more deeply as you breathe out. And then come back to your awareness of the mouth and jaw, hinges of your jaw. Notice if you're clenching your teeth. You could move your lower jaw around a little bit, really soften through the hinges of your jaw. And notice what it is that causes this tension or tightness through the jaw. Why do we clench our teeth? And this area could also include down into the throat center, the vocal cords at the front of the neck. Let your tongue soften and relax and be still on the floor of your mouth. The vocal cords are still. And if we have a habit of clenching our teeth, then we'll notice that we might be grinding our teeth at night, or when we tune into this during the day, we could notice that tightness and contraction. And there's some kind of obvious things that might be related to that, like not being able to express ourselves or say our truth. But one really simple way to work with this is to have a little bit of space between your teeth, top to bottom, so that you're not clenching your teeth. And then whenever you think about it, just see if you could loosen up through your jaw, the hinges of your jaw. Relax your mouth, your tongue, your chin. And then come down from there through the throat and the collarbones to the chest, the large muscles that cover the rib cage at the front. And if you were to take some deeper breaths, that could also get us into touch with what's going on in that area. And sometimes the chest muscles are tight. If you were to squeeze your pectoral muscles and then let them release, do that a few times and then notice if that feels any different. My experience with the chest is often more of an energetic feeling or heaviness or contraction. It's like we're protecting our heart center energetically. And we talk about the heaviness of loss or grief. There can be a pressure on the chest when we're thinking about someone we love or listening to wonderful music or whatever makes us happy, there's a different feeling in the chest. And we have the physical heart, and we have the heart center, the energetic heart center, and the spiritual heart center. As you're breathing and softening, just notice what's going on in the chest area. And sometimes there's a holding of our breath. Sometimes there's a tightness in our chest or our throat. We feel like we can't breathe. That's very common. And as you're focusing on your chest, notice, where is your chest moving as you breathe? Ideally, when we're breathing diaphragmatically, it's really just the area around the lower rib cage that's moving as we breathe. Some of that has to do with softening the belly as well. These are all interconnected. Let your chest soften. Let your breathing have more ease. And then bring your attention around to the back of your chest, the back of your neck, the upper back, the shoulders, area between your shoulder blades, behind your heart center. This is one of the 5 areas where we tend to hold a lot of tightness, contraction, physically, energetically. Notice if it's safe enough right now in your direct experience for you to let go of any tightness through the neck and shoulders and through the upper back. When we work with this with our conscious mind, it's really clear that tightening up through the neck and shoulders doesn't help. But this is a nervous system unconscious response. So if you bring that into your conscious awareness, and as you breathe out, let your shoulders and back soften. As we soften through the body, the back, the chest, the belly, we can breathe more deeply perhaps. Be aware of the whole body, head to toes. And as you're noticing your body, let go of any remaining tightness or tension. Let your breath be smoother. Let your whole system soften and relax. And then let's work directly with the thought stream for a moment. What's going on in your stream of thoughts? So if you were sitting, kind of watching from behind your head, if that metaphor works for you, or however you want to bring your attention into the area of the brain, which is usually where the thought stream flows through. What's going on in the thought stream? So when we first start to watch, there's usually a break in thought. You could keep a light attention on your forehead and eyebrows. And for the next few minutes, we're just watching thought. If you notice that you've gotten involved in something and you've lost track of that, just bring yourself back as soon as you notice. We might hear words, we might have pictures, it might be kind of just a very quiet background kind of a thought. It might be something that's grabbing us. Stay really present in your whole body, your breath, forehead and eyebrows, and watch the thoughts that are coming and going in your mind. And just like when we're working with the breath, the most efficient way to calm the breath is to soften the belly. One of the ways that we can work with the thoughts in the mind is just to notice them. It's the nature of this layer of the mind to generate thoughts. A lot of them are generated from our nervous system, our primitive brain, that part of our brain that wants to be on the alert for danger. So we could appreciate that we have that part of us looking out for ourselves. But it's often what leads to catastrophic thinking and other disturbances. So we don't usually appreciate that part. Just to remind yourself sometimes to come back into this witnessing. Notice your whole body, head to toes, and soften the parts that seem a bit tight or there's pain. Anchor your attention to your breath. Let your breath be continuous, smooth, diaphragmatic. And watch what's going on in your thought stream. Focus in on the spaces or silence between thoughts. Let that attention on the silence bring you deeper into silence. And we don't have to worry about the higher level of the mind or the joy and bliss because those are always there. It's just that the commotion in the first three levels often distract us or kind of hide that. So if we work with the first three koshas, the physical body, the layer of breath and energy, and the lower level of the mind, that's really all we need to do. Take a few deep breaths. Notice your whole experience, your body, breath, and mind. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.